You have a great story in terms of how you got into this. So I thought maybe we can start just with that story. If you could share an abridged version of it. Like, how did you end up doing what you're doing today, like where you are?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And Campfire has always been a great event for me because I meet a lot of like-minded people that I admire and respect very well. But today is actually more special because it is my birthday. So I'm celebrating my birthday with you guys.
Happy birthday. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah, my story is a little bit crazy. I'm Egyptian. I was born in Kuwait, and I grew up between Kuwait and Egypt, and I moved here in 2007. I always wanted to be in Silicon Valley because I grew up obsessed with technology, obsessed with video games, and my dream was to come to the Silicon Valley and to be in the epicenter of technology. I started my career as an IT help desk person at Sequoia Capital. I spent most of my days in the server room, fixing computers, fixing Palo Alto network firewalls, and just like random Cisco call managers. And then I met my mentor, his name is Chad Dyer, that he was the CIO of Sequoia. And he's the one who helped me how to outgrow my shell for being like just an IT help desk person into like a strategic partner to the firm, and how we can actually help the investment team with data and with applications.
What were some of, I guess maybe just touching on that for a little bit more, but like what were some of those like biggest things that he might have taught you or that you kind of picked up from him, learned from him?
One of the biggest things that he taught me is to understand the core business very well, to speak to everyone in the firm. He taught me something that I do till this day. Is called the one-on-one roulette, that every once in a while I just like ping someone random within the firm. Let's have a coffee together. It can be the receptionist, it can be an EA, it can be one of the investment partners. And just talk to them and understand like how they work every day and what's the KPIs of the firm and how we can empower them with technology. At the end of the day, we're like solution providers and we're not a cost center anymore. We are here to provide them with technology that help them achieve better results. And yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah. Well, it's a humble beginning, but incredible how far you've come, how you've rose. So maybe I'll start with how has Affinity impacted both KP and the way maybe you've seen it be digested by the rest of the venture landscape, and how does that interface with something I know you've talked about before, you know, is how there is this very artisanal craftsmanship approach to venture that you learned from your other mentors as well. We're talking a lot about data, which one might think of as the other side of that. So how does Affinity interface with like that artisanal craftsmanship side of the world?
As you said, venture capital is a craft, and Affinity is one of the tools that we're helping the investment team to build this craft better. Back when we met in 2015 and I was at Sequoia, everyone was trying to build their own homegrown applications or homegrown CRM solutions. Spend a lot of money, millions of dollars. We have like a full team of engineers that are trying to develop it, customize it to the investment team and all the other functional leads, and spending a lot of money about maintaining it until I met you and you told me, look, Affinity is out of the box CRM solution. It's not Salesforce, but it's better than Salesforce because it's for venture capital. And I was like, what? You actually did that? And this has enabled us all from, instead of us spending a lot of money on talent and building everything from the ground up, to actually have something out of the box that we can tailor and customize the way that we would like. So I think it's not only impacting Kleiner Perkins, it's impacting everyone over here in the table. I think that this craft is very, very niche. All of us are trying to achieve the same thing, finding companies early, invest in it and grow it and get great exits. Now is not about how much money that you have in your budget to build the tool to help you doing so. It's about who that you can hire, like people like yourself, to actually make this tool better and better. It reminds me of the NBA before the salary caps, like whoever the biggest budgets were, they are the most successful teams. Right now it's all about the talent because you all have the same platform and you have the same budget in a sense. So we're not spending money on building the greatest and biggest platform against our competitors. It's like how we can actually tailor it to our KPIs.
I remember those early days of venture. In fact, I would even go like one step further to say, like, the thing that at least in Affinity's early days we kept hearing over and over again, you know, we go in and say like, hey, how do you think about the way you use technology internally? And we kept hearing this refrain, like, I know we invest in tech, but like, this is going to sound crazy. Like, we're the most underinvest, like internally most underinvested in tech. And everyone said that as if it was like the first time we'd ever heard it, but we heard it like 40 times. So I'd say even in your experience, having done the internal build out, that was probably already like a bit of an outlier. And it's crazy to see how far that's all come.
Yeah, 100%. And now, actually, like my managing partner and my boss, Mamoun Hamid, he was at 20VC yesterday, and he spoke and he mentioned Affinity in the podcast. And he was saying that before I joined, the first thing that he told me is like, can we get rid of whatever that we're building over here, right? That we spend like millions of dollars on, and just like bring Affinity and trying to make it better. And that was like in 2018. And so like it's until this day.
Totally, yeah. Also takes like, guts to, to make that kind of a decision, especially when you've invested already so much and looking at new things. So I guess related to that, how do you talked about, the importance of understanding the user internally, understanding like, what every function does. How do you align your data strategy with the business goals at KP, maybe generally for someone in your role? And with this role of yours, like, how do you have a seat at the table? What does that mean, and how do you kind of build that?
If you think about the investment lifecycle or the process, you're having sourcing, pipeline, due diligence, and you're putting a lot of work and a lot of effort into this information, like notes, documents, and data. Once you flip it as a TS signed or term sheet signed, it goes into a portfolio company. If you're owning that platform and you're owning this data, you're talking to every functional lead within the firm. For us, Affinity is not only used by the investment team, it's the investment team, the go-to-market team that's trying to help those companies go in front of customers, the marketing team that's managing campaigns whenever they're announcing the company, the talent team to helping with the people data to hire the best and the best talent for the companies. Talking to all these folks and actually being strategic partner with them, you'll find yourself like being at the seat on the table to help them optimize all this information. So again, it's talking to people, making sure that you understand what our investment strategy is, and to be adaptable as well. 5 years ago, the hottest sector was crypto. After that was VR, AR, and after that was NFT. Right now is like the cyclone of AI. If you keep containing yourself with the same data and the same platform without asking the same questions or asking the good questions about what is the hardest sectors right now, what are we focusing on, what our KPIs are, I don't think that you'll be able to survive. You need to always be adaptable and adapt with the thinking of the greater firm.
Yeah. I feel like generally your story resonates a lot with me. It's kind of similar even to a personal story because in some ways when I got started, engineering background, information technology, kind of had to learn a lot of this industry and the way that it operates, which just sounds like it was kind of congruent with the journey that you had. So, maybe kind of building off of that, when you were learning these different, there's a number of folks I know in the audience who kind of are in a similar data platform, internal building role. I think it's always easy for, an engineer to put on their, or, IT person to put on their hat and say like, I'm just going to do what's asked of me as opposed to kind of stretch out and learn about these different functions. So can you share a bit more about like how you went about that? Like, for example, what does the marketing function at a venture firm do? What does the partner care about? Like, how did you end up like building that knowledge, that know-how, building those relationships?
By understanding what are we investing in and like what's the outcomes of these investments, right? If we're investing in SaaS company, like we want to make sure very well that we're actually putting this company first and having as much as possible user acquisition. So I need to work with the go-to-market team to help getting this company in front of customers as fast as possible. How can we give them like an agile platform and agile data to help them to do so? This is how I try to empower them with it. I think currently it's very great opportunity for us to work with the brightest minds of our industry, especially with the AI cyclone, because you never know what the future is going to be. It's crazy out there. And I'm sure that you guys everyone is like sick about hearing about AI at this point. Every company became like an AI company and everyone has a co-pilot. But the most important thing is for us like to trying to focus on where is like the end game in here and helping the marketing team and the go-to-market team to understand how we can grow those companies. It's not only about the sourcing and before the company becomes a portfolio company.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very good takeaway. Yeah. So I want to actually come back to the AI thing later.
Okay.
Maybe kind of going back to your role specifically. So you said when you kind of gone into this industry doing what you do, you were working for a CIO.
Yeah.
And now you are sitting here, as a CIO of one of the most successful funds in the world. How has your role and like that general role of CIO and other adjacent, roles like evolved over time? And maybe, obviously the venture tool landscape has changed a lot. Affinity was lucky to be a part of that. How has that kind of driven or affected some of that change, the evolution of the role?
The evolution of the role came into play by understanding your tech stack very well, modernizing the tech stack for you to be an agile and to be flexible as much as you can. I spent like the first 4 years at Kleinerberg is trying to literally rip out servers from storage and opening many coffins and trying to digitalize it and actually get it into the cloud in order for us to have the flexibility to bring data warehouses or data lakes like Snowflake and instances into Affinity. For me is a very challenging issue because I was coming in as a CIO hat, but at the same time I need to go back to the roots and roll up my sleeves and be an IT person.
Right.
And humble yourself is no, I need to work on this myself and fix the servers and modernize them. This has built a lot of trust with the whole firm. It builds a lot of trust that I am a person that actually care about the business. I remember very well during COVID, my partners called me, it's we need to work from home. How much time do you need? And it's we're ready right now. And he's oh, that's now I get it, why the last 4 years we've been modernizing your whole stack so we can have the flexibility of any disaster recovery that we can actually work from home. Once you get all the infrastructure in place, you start thinking about how I can make my team, elevate my team to do better things or more brightest thing. We don't have a help desk anymore. We have an AI to answer that. We don't have a Cisco call manager anymore. We have everything on the phone as a soft phone. That doesn't mean that I need to get rid of my help desk guys or my system engineers. How we can invest in them to actually do something more valuable by learning how to use AI better, how to use workflows better. My system engineer became from just a system engineer into the Affinity admin right now. And he's building workflows and putting all the APIs together. And he feels very, very fulfilled that he's doing something that actually strategically impacting the firm.
It's awesome. No task is beneath the CIO.
Of course not,
your sleeves. And I don't know. I mean, for everything you shared, I bet, the partnership also appreciates it. I mean, sounds like you make a good founder. Nothing's below, the CEO.
Actually, I was a founder before I came to the US. And the reason why I love venture capital so much, that I started my own company with a couple of friends after college. Wow. And it was back in 2003 or 2004. And before Google Maps even existed. And we were trying to do our own version of the repository Google Maps for our neighborhood in Cairo. We failed miserably. It was 6 of us. We started falling off the cliff because everyone wants to get a real job. We did not have funding. We did not have VC funding. Right. And I had no idea what a venture capital is. Until I came over here and I walked at Sequoia for the first time. And I'm looking at all these posters Airbnb and Yammer and I was what are you guys doing in here? It's oh, well, when people with great minds have great ideas, they come over, they pitch us, and we fund them. And I was so you could have funded me, but I did not have you. So it was, for me, it's a passion that I knew how an entrepreneurial life can be, how challenging it can be, how you need guidance. It's not about money lending. It's about money lending. It's about growth. It's about guidance. It's about helping you, bringing you from $100 million company to $1 billion company, or actually making your dreams come true. Yeah. I had the Brian Chesky incubator next to me, in the next door, my office when I was at Sequoia, and I see how hard they worked and how grinding they worked, but they had their backing of a venture capital firm. So this is the reason why I do what I do right now, and I don't see myself working anywhere else because I know that everything that I'm doing, it's helping the KPI with the firms of actually investing in great talent and helping achieve their dreams.
It's awesome. It's amazing. It's very inspiring. Okay. Now I'm going to come back to that AI topic we talked about earlier.
Oh boy, there we go.
Yeah, I know. AI, we're all sick of hearing it. Affinity's investing in AI. I guess from your position, because I don't know, there's always this tension of how much of it is just cruft versus it's actually driving real return. Mm-hmm. So how do you see the venture industry utilizing AI as a part of their investment strategy? What are you seeing that's working? Maybe how are you thinking about it internally? What's not quite working yet?
This question's been asked a lot, and the way that I look at it is start from the back of the house to the front of the house. Make sure that your back office, AI helps your back office by workflows, summarization, investment reports, aggregating the portfolio companies like cap tables, all this fun stuff. As an investment strategy itself, at the end of the day, is about conviction. If we will be able to provide them with good reports, summarizations, summarization to the note-taking, understanding the landscape of investments, the peer investments, and what's the current trends, this is great. I don't think that AI is capable yet to make investment decisions per se, because as we said, it's a craft, it's a talent. Maybe someone will be sitting with you and can actually have the conviction that you're a great founder, and someone else is like, you know what, I don't feel the chemistry. I don't align with your values. So this is what makes our industry very, very interesting. Right now, we use a company called Glean. It's one of our portfolio companies that does a lot of workflows and summarizations and reports, and we funnel it into Affinity to enrich the data that we have already.
Mm. This is more like augmenting what you're doing as opposed to like,
exactly.
Yeah, like, there's not any roles internally that are being fully, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Very good. Very good. So I guess on that vein, there's a lot of firms here. I think a lot of them are thinking about this question of how do they modernize, especially in relation to how the best in the industry are thinking about it. So what advice would you give to other VC firms that are looking to think about rejiggering the data infrastructure? I'm not sure how many there are left that still have the server rooms that have to be unplugged or whatever, but yeah, what advice would you give on that?
Invest in scalable solutions. Invest on your data. It's not about which tool that you're using. It's about like what data that you're aggregating and you're housing it, and make it as scalable and flexible as possible that you can plug it into different applications or SaaS tools like Affinity. I think that this is the most important thing for you to actually be able to carry your data around with the shifting environment of all these applications and AI applications. The other thing that I will say is, from a personal perspective, from people from our role, just surround yourself with amazing, like-minded people. Talk to a lot of people. Like, I have a lot of beautiful faces here that I'm seeing right now that I've been knowing them for like many, many, many years, and we grew together. And I have Andrew over there, like I'm looking at him, like I called him the other day, it's like, I need your advice on something, and he jumped on it like right away. Having this community and the community that you guys are building over here is more important than tools and education in a sense, because all of us it's a group therapy in a sense.
Right.
It is a group therapy in a sense, and I think that it's not about the stack right now. It's not about like which tool that you're using. It's about how you approach it and how you're using it. And we can give advice to each other on how we approach, that tool, or like how we can present it or like bring it to our investment team or our stakeholders.
You heard it from him, yeah. Build your community here. So that's fantastic. Okay. All right. I'm going to cap this off. We talked about, the present, the future, kind of go back to the past. So you've had this exalted, career in venture, getting to where you are. What would you tell your younger self? Let's say maybe post-startup, kind of just getting started, hitting stride in VC. What would you have told that version of yourself about staying ahead?
I would have told myself to never invest in NFTs, that's for sure. That was a big mistake for me. I would say to myself is, there is a personal aspect and a professional aspect. The personal aspect is find your sense of purpose and always follow it. And every day you wake up and remind yourself of the sense of purpose. Sense of purpose can be supporting your family. Sense of purpose will be breaking the stereotypes. Sense of purpose can be like for you to be always ahead of the competition, whatever sense of purpose is. This is always going to empower you and wake you up every morning and remind yourself, like, what are you doing, what you're doing every day. From a professional side, be adaptable and always listen and always ask great questions. We are in a business that every 6 months is changing. And the stakeholders we're working with are changing their dynamic every 6 months as well, or every year. Surround yourself with great people, educate yourself very well, always be a student, listen as much podcasts as much as possible, watch like Bloomberg Technology every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's like one of my favorite shows. It will give you a lot of perspective and predict a lot of like what's happening in the future, and will give you a step ahead before your stakeholders coming to you. Oh, we need to start doing this. Actually, I know, because this company got acquired and there's like a tailwind to it, and I understand that the strategy is going to be this way. Don't depend on other people to educate you, just educate yourself always, and always learn.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's not just about intellectual stimulation, it's a part of doing the job effectively, because it's a part of your role is to look around the corner and be investing ahead of time. Yeah,
and invest in the people around you and invest in the people in your team as well. It helps us actually develop our teams. It helps us helping them with what their aspirations are, what they want to do 6 months down the road, or 6 years down the road. Helped us invest more on our intelligence, helped us invest more in our approach, and it's all about the people that you surround yourself with.
Fantastic. Love it. Awesome. Moose, I want to say I'm flattered that you would be spending today, your birthday, at Campfire here today with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you.
Thank you guys, everyone. Bye.